1 week from today, WWE 2K26 officially releases if you pre-ordered the game. And after spending time, real time with it, playing the major modes, testing the match types, building creation suite, running universe, diving into the island, I can tell you right now that if the core gameplay wasn't good, none of this would matter. None of the modes would matter. Not the new modes, not the new match types, not the customization, not even the presentation upgrades. Because at the end of the day, if the matches don't feel right, everything else would fall apart. And on the surface, WWE 2K26 looks familiar, but once you actually pick up the controller, it feels different. With the game just a week away from launch, I wanted to put everything into one complete breakdown, not scattered impressions, not quick reactions, a full look at what WWE 2K26 actually does well and where it still needs work. And after really spending time with it, I can give you a deep dive. I've played Universe Mode, I've gone deep in the Creation Suite, I've tested the new match types, and I've spent lots of time in the island. But before we get into any of that, we need to start with the foundation, and that is the core gameplay. The first thing you will notice is the brand new interactive entrance where you can do all the cool actions. You can set off pyro as you're coming down the ramp. You can set pyro off when you get in the ring. You can do a babyface reaction. You can do a heel reaction, and they're all there for you. There's one thing that I didn't even know because the developers had to come by and tell me. They said, did you know that there's 3 different options for each of them? You click up on the D-pad once, it does one. Click it twice, it does a different. Click it 3 times, it does a different one. The same thing happens for each direction. So you can have 3 different sets of pyro on the entrance, 3 different sets of pyro in the ring, 3 different reactions, babyface, and 3 different reactions as a heel. So right off the bat, just noticing that made everything feel different. One thing that I wanted to say about the interactive entrances, it isn't just a coat of paint on top of an actual entrance. Like, they're not just making a different face, they're actually doing a different animation. So even if CM Punk turns around to do his entrance, you could do an animation that would interrupt that and make it look different than his entrance actually is. It's really awesome. So you see it looks different. It's different than just an expression. It actually does a different action depending on what you press. The pyro is also very, very cool. One thing I did notice was that if you get on the top rope, you can't explode pyro into their face. It will actually just do the other corners that they're not at. So it actually makes sense. Now the match is about to begin, and you have the pre-match actions before you actually start the match. If you want to draw energy from the crowd, you can. You want to approach your opponent, you can. Or if you want to rush them and try to attack them, you can do that as well. Just press one of the buttons on the D-pad, and that makes it very easy to choose what you want to do. If you're trying to approach your opponent, then you get several options that you want to do, whether you want to shake their hand, trade blows, or have a stare down. The handshake is cool because you can press X to actually hit a cheap shot on your opponent if you want to do that. And that makes for a fun interaction if you're trying to trick somebody to do a handshake and then hit them before the match even begins. After that, that will set you up to get the advantage early on in the match if you do something like that. So these options are just something that makes the game feel different, and it's still really true to what pro wrestling actually is. They're going for simulation style here, so having that just makes it a lot of fun. So right away, the biggest thing I noticed was the animations and the presentation right when I started the match. Everything just feels smoother, whether it is or isn't. Everything looks better, whether it is or isn't. Whether it's more natural, the moments just transition even better. The way the match flows, to me, just felt more realistic. If you're a hardcore fan, you're going to notice all of this immediately, and you'll see those quality of life updates right away. If you're more of a casual fan, you might miss some of the little details, but they are all there. Speaking of little details, there's a couple things that you're gonna want to do that make this game just a little bit more fun. Obviously, the first thing you want to do is turn on blood in the options, and by doing that, you will actually trigger a brand new animation when you get blood in a match. I didn't know this was a new thing, but when blood happens, it splatters all over the screen. The first time this happened, I had no idea it was going to happen, and I popped really hard for it. Another thing you're going to want to do is turn off weight detection. I actually talked to some of the developers, and they said one of the most fun ways to play this game is to turn off weight detection. Because I did a match with Ray Phoenix and Obafemi, and they said, turn off weight detection. You're going to play like Ray Phoenix actually plays. And that is such a good detail to know going into this game, because then it takes off all of those restrictions that were in place, that you could just do all the cool moves that Ray Phoenix actually does. And trust me, there are a lot of cool moves in WWE 2K26. That stuff sounds small, but it really did matter and made the game that much enjoyable. From the ragdoll physics, to the weapons, to the animations, to the entrance, to the pre-match stuff, this game is a step up from WWE 2K26. If you played last year's game, it will look familiar, but once you start playing it, it is completely different. From everything that I mentioned, it is a step forward. This year, it isn't just a roster update. It feels like they're taking steps forward to make a really good pro wrestling video game, and this game definitely feels awesome. Complete presentation wise, this might be one of the cleanest WWE games they've done. The camera angles look better with the new broadcast mode. All you have to do broadcast mode is just simulate a match and watch it, and you get all these great camera angles. The lighting looks awesome in all the arenas. The crowd feels alive. The entrances feel more dynamic with that new entrance stuff. You can do all the cool stuff. It feels like they focused on making everything look like an actual WWE broadcast. And I do think a lot of that has to do with them ditching the last gen consoles, because they can focus on the technology and push this game forward into the future. And that's definitely what they did here in WWE 2K26. Even with all of that, this game is not perfect. From what I've seen so far, Showcase is fun, but early on it feels just like a checklist that you have to complete. It didn't really grab me right away, and I found myself wanting to jump into the gauntlet mode and just complete that mode so that I could get all the characters. So having that gauntlet mode is good and bad. It's good for the consumer, maybe bad for the people making the game, because I really didn't know how deep I wanted to go into it. Now, I know there are those fantasy matchups and those surprises that you're going to get in the showcase mode, so playing through it later will get a little bit better, but early on, it just felt like I've already done this before. I've already seen this. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it just didn't hook me instantly to go, okay, I want to play more of this. Now, I'm going to complete the whole showcase mode and make videos on it, but early on, just checking it out for the first time, I wasn't really hooked to go, okay, let's complete this entire mode right now. So I've been playing wrestling games my entire life, going all the way back to the N64 era, and you know that WCW NWO Revenge is probably one of my favorite games of all time. So I've seen the highs, the lows, the rebuilding of the WWE 2K franchise, and everything. I've seen it all. And that's why I'm pretty honest when I say that something feels different about this game. Plus, after talking to the developers and the people who make this game, I honestly feel like they care where this franchise is going. They're paying attention to everything. They're coming in, having deep conversations with me. They're listening to what I have to say. They come up to me and go, hey, what did you think of this mode? Tony, talk about this, because I know you really had an opinion on this. They're making very small quality of life changes to this game that actually matter, that will keep this game for the long term. They are giving me confidence that this game will be better in the future as they continue to grow it. They're not just putting out something that they go, okay, yeah, whatever, we just have to make a new game. They care about it. They want to make it better. That's why you'll notice a lot of really small changes that are going to make this game better. One thing they haven't even really talked about is the Royal Rumble, which was just a small change, but it really made a lot. When the entrances come out, they don't cut to show the guy coming out to the ring. They keep the action in the ring, and then there's a picture-in-picture of the person making their entrance to join that Royal Rumble match. It's a small little detail, but things like that really do matter to the hardcore people, because most of the people that play the WWE games have played them in the past. So they want to see these little changes that make the game better each year. And I do want to say the gameplay isn't just about how the punches feel or how reversals connect. It's about the situations you're placed in. And this year, that's where the new match types come in, because we have the Inferno match, the Dumpster match, the I Quit match, and the 3 Stages of Hell. And with all those new match types, that's where the game really tests its core mechanics. First off, let's talk about the dumpster match, because it is essentially just the casket match, but it's reskinned for a dumpster. I don't know how different you would actually make it if you're trying to make it a different match type from the casket match, because the mechanics are already there and it makes sense that they would just reuse that. The cool thing is, though, if you're playing in different arenas, if you're backstage, you could throw them in a dumpster and end the match that way. So that is a really cool addition. There's nothing new here, just a dumpster replacing the casket, and it does what it's supposed to do. They're not reinventing the wheel with the dumpster match. It is essentially what you've already seen before, but it does feel good, and having a new match type like that is always good to have in the game. Now let's shift over to the Inferno match, which is a really fun match type. The flames go high every time you get the moves up. There's a meter at the bottom. You're trying to fill that meter up, and once you do, you can light your opponent on fire. Some cool additions here are that you can roll out of the ring and get weapons during the Inferno match. I know a lot of people didn't like the fact that you just go right through the flames, but the flames do go down as you roll out, so you can get back in and then the flames will go back up. So it does make sense there. I understand that the realism isn't 100% when you roll through the flames, but just think about if you went really, really fast, you would get out of the flames. And hey, let's suspend our disbelief because bringing weapons into the ring definitely makes it even better. Another cool thing about bringing weapons into the ring is if you get a table, you light it on fire, you put your opponent through that flaming table, you can win the match. Another cool thing is that you can use a fireball to put that in your opponent's face. It is a part of the payback system, and if you do that, your opponent will be lit on fire and you'll win the Inferno match. All that stuff just makes it great. There is some cool stuff when you go to light your opponent on fire. You dump them out of the ring and they hit the side of the ring. And go, oh, my back hurts. The only thing that stinks about it is you don't actually get lit on fire. I know that has to do with the ESRB rating, and if you did light somebody on fire, it'd probably bump it up to a mature rating, and they don't want to do that, so that's why they did it the way they did. But the fire extinguisher comes out at the end in the cutscene, and the Inferno match is ended there. I do think that having this match, again, with all the new match types, it's just a great addition. Having more always makes things better. Then coming back is the I Quit match, which is really great. And they didn't just put it in the game. They added new additions to it to make it feel fresh. There are great voiceover lines in the game during the I Quit match. Like the referee says, do you want to quit? And then you'll hear actual dialogue from the wrestler saying, no. Or they'll say, yeah, I'm done. So either way, you'll hear that dialogue. One thing I will mention about the I Quit match that is really, really good is the little meter down at the bottom to get your opponent to say I quit. It's very difficult. There's a little circle. You got to fill it up. It all makes sense when you play it. If you get your hands on it, you will love it. The one thing that I do not like about the I Quit match is watching the I Quit match, because in an I Quit match, you would ask your opponent to quit and then a little meter would pop up and you would see it. Well, if you're watching a match, you will not see that meter. All the ref will go and say, do you want to quit? And then they'll just sit there, and then they'll say, I don't want to quit, or they will say, I quit. So it doesn't look really good when you're watching a match, an I Quit match, because that meter doesn't pop up. So you're just sitting there going, what's happening? Okay. Maybe a submission would be better, but watching a regular one where they're just sitting there, waiting for the microphone, I quit, that's it. So it's like, all right, I don't like that. That wasn't great. But playing it is a whole lot of fun. I suggest that's one of those matches that you want to play every time because it just has a better experience when you play it. The last one is the 3 Stages of Hell match, which is essentially 3 matches in one. You go from one to the next to the next. What I thought when I first walked in, what I heard from people was that it seamlessly goes to the next match. So if you are in a singles match and then it's like a cage match, the cage would come down and you just go to that next match. But instead it goes to a menu and it says, okay, John Cena won the first fall, the second fall is this, and then you do that. Oh, they won this fall, the second one is this. Oh, here's the third one. So that it just didn't feel seamless, like you go from one to the next to the other. Maybe that's something they can do later on. I guess what they wanted was so that you could see who won and if you have to win again. I don't know. That's just the thought process they had. But I'd really love it to be like, okay, I won the singles match, and now we're going to do like a hardcore match. Let's just go straight into it. You do have your same meter and health and all that. That makes sense. But it just doesn't feel like a seamless game mode where it's going from one match to the next to the next. But it is 3 separate matches. It is there for you to do. You set them up as you want them. And I think, you know what? We have that in the game. That's pretty cool. Again, I would just love for it to be seamless and that you could go right into the next one without having to go back to that menu and see what it is. And last, this isn't a new match type, but it is a new arena. It is a Scrapyard Brawl. Good thing about this, first off, is I was wondering, is it only in the island? Is the Scrapyard Brawl only a part of the island? No, it's part of the island story, but you could play it outside of the island. It's just an arena you could choose, and that's really, really cool. There's a lot of cool things to do all around the Scrapyard, so I won't spoil it for you, but I will say it is very cool when someone pops out of a crate and they start joining the match. Interference is really fun this year in all the game modes, but it is especially really good in the Scrapyard Brawl because they just pop out and it goes, okay, so then you have to attack them until they lay on the ground once you beat them up enough. It's really fun. Great arena. There's a lot of interactive stuff to do in the Scrapyard Brawl, so you will find a bunch of cool things. There's a dumpster over here. There's tables set over here. There's a ring there. There's all kinds of things to do. Go up to the top, jump off things. Lots of fun stuff. Scrapyard Brawl, definitely one of the great additions. Part of the island, but you could play it outside of the island. And I think, again, having more stuff just makes it even better. And at the end of the day, these new match types, they don't reinvent the game, but they expand upon it. That's really what this game is all about, is the quality of life and expanding on it. They improve the core gameplay more and let the game breathe with all these new modes. And that's important because the variety keeps the game from feeling repetitive. And that's where we got to get into something even bigger, and that is Universe Mode. First off, when you get into Universe Mode, you will notice you have two options like you always do, whether you want Superstar Mode or Classic Mode. I never do Superstar Mode, so I'm not even going to get into that. Classic Mode is that sandbox mode, total freedom. That is what you're going to want to do. And it does now give you the option to customize your Universe Mode. In WWE 2K26, you can customize events on the Universe calendar and their details before the first show even starts. Choose which weekly show, PLEs, you'd like to feature assigned show participants, champions, and decide which month you'd like to start in. Would you like to customize Universe or go directly to Universe menu with default settings? So Customize Universe is that creation wizard that you're going to get into. You remember they're touting that creation wizard that's supposed to streamline the process of creating Universe Mode, or so I thought. I don't know if this is actually streamlining it like I wanted, but we'll get into it. So first off, you're choosing your weekly shows here. You first get to choose the shows that you want. They have the presets here: Raw, NXT, SmackDown, Nitro, and ECW. And you can add a new show if you want. If you like to remove a show, just deselect it and you won't have it part of that universe, which is pretty cool. So you could go in and pick the show there. Now, from here, I thought, okay, this is cool. Now, when I pick these brands, it's going to go through and it's going to go through all the options and tell me what I'm actually going to pick here, right? So if I have Raw, it's going to tell me, do I have these participants? Do I have this? Then it's going to go to NXT. Then it's going to go to SmackDown. So what I thought is that it was going to be baby steps, holding your hands, going through this creation setup for this. However, it's just like the old way of doing it. You just hit Y to edit the show or triangle to edit the show. And then you go through the match details or the show details and you edit it exactly how you did before. It's not really what I thought the Creation Wizard was going to be. I thought the Creation Wizard was going to go, okay, which shows do you want? Raw, NXT, and then SmackDown. And then it would step by step go and tell you exactly what to do. So which superstars, what champions, who's Money in the Bank, what shows, all that stuff. But unfortunately, it does not do that. You just choose the shows. And then if you want to edit it deeper, you hit Y. And then you can go into all the regular options that you always had before, which kind of stinks because I thought it was going to be a baby steps hand-holding thing. But they said, well, people know how to play Universe Mode, so why would we really do that? If you want to learn, you can go in here. Otherwise, you could just go into it. So when you click on Edit Show, you can click on Show Details, General Manager, Participants, Number of Matches, Match Table. You can edit your championships, your divisions, and your power rankings, and whatever day your show is going to be on. So that is there. As far as setting up the PLEs, you can do the show details, the number of matches, the match table, who's hosting the show, and what days they're actually on, whether it's a day 1 or a day 2. So if you do have a 2-night WrestleMania, you could do that. If you don't, you don't have to do that. You do whatever you want. So you could have all the 3 brands hosting the show, or you could just have 1 brand hosting the show, 2 brands, whatever you want. Whatever brands you're having, you can have them host that PLE event. There are a couple new things for the show details that you can actually set up. You can have the nighttime arena, which would be the alt arena, or you can have the nighttime alternate arena. So you can set up different arenas for that, which is very, very cool. If you have a daytime and nighttime, set up both of those. And also referees, you can now select multiple referees throughout the show. So then you'll see multiple refs when you're doing a PLE or pay-per-view or whatever you're talking about, Monday Night Raw, whatever it is, whatever you're setting up for the show details, you can have multiple referees, select the refs that you want, and they will be a part of that Universe Mode. And another cool option is choosing the month that you want your Universe Mode to start. I was trying to do something where I set up Halloween Havoc in October and then start in October, do a draft, all that stuff. That was kind of my idea here. I just created Halloween Havoc and I wanted it to start in October. So when I set that up, the month that I want to start my Universe Mode is October. And that's why I wanted it to be, because I made this new pay-per-view for Halloween Havoc. So it all makes sense. So that's what I was going for here. So here is where things get a little funky, because we're going to talk about the draft, which is the biggest feature that we have here for the WWE Universe mode this year. And I will tell you right off the bat, I broke the draft. I got stun locked or soft locked or whatever you call it into an infinite loop of the draft. Now, I will tell you, I showed the developers exactly how this happened, and I went step by step to tell them this is exactly how I got locked into universe mode of this infinite draft. So maybe they'll fix it before it starts, I'm hoping. But I will just say that it kind of soured my experience on the draft because I got locked into this loop. I couldn't get out of it. It just kept drafting over and over and over and over and over, and that wasn't great. I didn't like that. But with the draft, you get to pick the names, and what I went for was an NXT call-up. So my idea was that you'd go to Raw or SmackDown, you'd call up some NXT people. That was the idea there. The draft logo would be there. You can pick whatever draft logo, and you pick the week that you want the draft to be. You pick which shows you want to be a part of that draft. I picked Raw and SmackDown, and the supplemental show would be NXT. You pick the number of rounds, you pick the max draft picks, and you pick the drafts per round. So there you go. You can set it to whatever you want on that. I think maybe me tweaking some of this stuff in the options actually messed up why my draft didn't work. But the idea that I wanted was to just have one time you pick your draft people, then you would just call up these NXT people, and then you'd move on from that. That's how I thought that it would go. But it didn't play out that way. Again, like I said, I got this infinite draft loop that happened. So I don't know what details I actually picked, but for draft rounds, I just did one. Maximum draft picks, I did 5, and then drafts per round, I did 5 as well. And that was just my options for there. You can go and change them and up and down and decide what you want. But I think I did 3 at the end of the day. That was kind of my idea there, and just kind of see what that draft would lead me. Again, I broke it. I'm sorry, but you know, if I can break it just playing it and thinking I can set it up the way I want it, then other people are going to do the exact same thing. So another detail that confused me about the draft was the number of rounds. I thought if I did 1 round, that if I go to Monday Night Raw, I'd draft my people and it would be over. No, actually it happens at the end of the week, which I wasn't ready for, because then I played Monday Night Raw and I was confused why there was no draft on the show. Did I break it? Did I set it up wrong? What did I do wrong? So what you want to do is whatever rounds you want, you will see those rounds happen on Raw or SmackDown. If NXT is a supplemental brand, that won't have a draft, obviously. But Raw and SmackDown, the drafts will happen on that depending on how many rounds of the draft that you actually have. So you might not see it. It might be a little confusing if you just do 1 round. It'll happen on SmackDown. You won't see it on Raw. It'll just happen at the end of the week, which was a little bit confusing for me, but it made sense once I finally got to the draft. And then once you get to the draft, it's pretty similar to, you know, anything that you're drafting, any drafting that you've ever seen before. You pick men, women, Raw, SmackDown, NXT teams, free agents. You can decide if you want to have those people drafted, or if you don't want to have them drafted, you don't have to. And of course, when you're setting up the Universe Mode draft, you can choose if you want teams to break up or stay together, if teams are even drafted, if you want free agents, yes or no, and if you want champions to be drafted also. And you can also have an option to save some superstars so they don't actually get drafted. That option also never triggered for me. I think I definitely screwed up my universe mode somehow by doing a bunch of different options in the draft thing. I told them all about it, so hopefully they're going to fix it before the game comes out. I'm really hoping, because I sat down and said, this is not working. Can you fix it? This is weird. What's going on here? I really wanted it to work. I had this idea that NXT people would be called up to Raw or SmackDown, and then you would see them being called up. That was all I wanted to do, right? You go to October and then it's NXT call-up time. That's the idea that I had. That was a theory I had, but it just didn't work out that way. And I was kind of confused why it wasn't working, but I got stuck in this loop. I couldn't get that thing where you save the superstars and they can't get drafted. That never happened. You're supposed to be able to pick which superstars you want, reserve them. That was the idea, but I didn't get that. It never happened for me. So the draft for me wasn't great, but all these options are here, and I hope that they're going to fix the draft before the game comes out. Okay. Let's not get too negative on Universe Mode just yet, because the draft is there. I think they just need to fix it before the game comes out. And also, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the new promo stuff, and one in particular that I really did like is a call-out promo where you actually call somebody out to come down to the ring and you challenge them to a match, and then you get to set up stipulations on the match that you want, and they can decide what they want to do when you challenge them to a match. One funny thing that I did was that I challenged them to a 3 stages of hell match. That's right. And then I got to pick each one of the falls that the match would be. And I said, let's do this match. And then what happened was they actually turned it down. They said, no, I don't want to do this. And they left. Could you imagine if there was a promo hyping up these 3 stages of hell match? Yeah, first fall, second fall, third fall. We're going to do this right here, right now. And then the opponent says, nah, that ain't going to happen. Nope. No siree. That ain't happening. Not doing it. Not doing that. But that was really cool. I like the idea of being able to pick the stipulation of the match right then and there and go, okay, we're going to fight in this match right now. And then they can go, let me think about that. Give me a second here. Let me think. Okay. We got this is the first match. Okay. This is the second match. Okay. This is the third match. Okay. Here are my options. I can accept the challenge. I can screw you. I'm out. Why wait? Let's have the match right now. Or I don't want a match. I want to fight. So they can choose what they want. Challenge them for the next show. Fight right now. Screw the match. I'm out. Or I don't want a match. I just want to fight. So you're just going to brawl instead. So those are some cool options. I thought the cutscene was very, very cool. There's still no voiceover stuff, but there is dialogue on the screen to tie it all together. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool cutscene. So after having your universe mode set up, you set up the PLEs, you set up the draft however you want it. The cool thing about this is the watch show mode where you can just watch the entire show from start to finish. And it is cool. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it definitely does feel awesome. When you finish one match, it goes right into the next match. It shows the crowd and then they do their entrance for the next match. And that's really awesome. Just makes it seamless and it makes it perfect for how you want this to play out, because universe mode is going to be one of those things that people are going to make Twitch streams, YouTube streams, where they just sit there and they watch the entire thing. Now you can do it in full. Also, huge alert here. This is awesome. If a match is ever going on too long, if it's going way too long, or if there's just a match you kind of want to skip, you hit start and you go to wrap up. There's a wrap up button now that you can wrap up the match, and they will try to end the match as fast as possible. This is awesome. It doesn't give them an instant finisher, but it does let them do more damage. It does have their bar go up a little bit faster, and then they will get a finisher faster, and they'll try and end the match off hitting a finisher or whatever and getting a pin, and they will try to not kick out of that pin. That's kind of the concept here for wrapping up the match, which is a little small detail, but it is awesome, because I don't know how many times I've played universe mode where I'm sitting there going, okay, you kicked out of 20 moves in a row. Can you please wrap it up and just end the match? Now we have that option to wrap it up, which I think is really, really, really smart of them to put that in here. I will say that it isn't perfect. There are points where it doesn't wrap up, depending if it's like a gimmick match or something like that. It won't just end right away. Like if it's a ladder match, we're not just going to run up the ladder and grab the briefcase or whatever. It doesn't work like that, but they will try and speed it up and get it to go where they want it to go. Just kind of ease the match to the end. Okay, have a conclusion to the match and move on to the next one. And then if you're playing universe mode and it's getting a little stale, hit that wrap up button and you will be good to go to your next match. And the last new feature that they did add here was cashing in the Money in the Bank. When the Money in the Bank cash-in is ready, that would mean that they could cash in their Money in the Bank. You do it mid-match or do it post-match. You just got to hit the button combination and they will do that Money in the Bank cash-in. Fortunately, I didn't get footage of that, but that option is there if you want to cash in on the Money in the Bank. Whew, okay, let me catch my breath here because we're going to wrap this up here. I'm going to tell you what I think about universe mode, having my hands on it, playing it, those new updates that they added to WWE 2K26. First off, I want to say that I really was glad that they've done a lot of quality of life changes on universe mode. They added the creation wizard and it wasn't exactly what I expected it to be, but it is still there, and the options to edit your universe mode are always there. And if you played universe mode over and over and over like I have, you know how to edit it from start to finish. So those options, they aren't difficult for you to understand. I just wish it was a little more like, hey, who do you want your champions to be? Hey, who do you want in your roster? Hey, who's the GM? All that stuff. Just, just pick this, pick this, pick this, pick this, pick this. But it wasn't like that. It was more like, okay, go in and customize it however you want it. So I get it, but if it's going to make like a wizard or call it a creation wizard, you should have it streamlined where it goes, you're going to set up all this, follow this step, then this step, then this step, then this step. But it was more like just do whatever you want and make it how you want it. That was kind of cool. I did like the changes to the pay-per-views and the referees, that you could have multiple referees during that, choose the night and day arenas that you can have, and all of that stuff just adds those little quality of life updates that I always talk about. Just those little things. I want to select 11 referees. Maybe they're not all going to be in this pay-per-view, but you'll see them and they'll be here part of whatever. They're going to be there if they do. If they're not, whatever. Or if you want one ref to ref the entire show, that makes sense. You could do that. Also, that is something you can do. I do want to talk about the draft because the draft is brand new, but unfortunately I was stuck in that loop where I couldn't get out of the draft, and it really sucked. It really soured my experience on the draft. I think it had something to do with the number of draft people that I was doing, the sliders I was messing with, the numbers, all of that stuff. What do they mean, Mason? What do the numbers mean? I don't know. The rounds, I think I messed up the rounds and all of that, just kind of trying to figure out what actually works best for my universe mode, and I didn't figure it out, so I broke it. So I'm hoping they fix that, because the draft is one of those big things that I'm very, very excited about. You get to the end and you go, okay, here's a draft. We are going to do this draft and we're going to call up NXT people. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to call up NXT people, but I got stuck in that endless loop and it just kind of soured the experience for me. I couldn't get out of it. I spent so much time on that. I actually missed out on playing other things because I was too busy trying to figure out this thing and telling developers, hey, have you seen this? That's not good. I love universe mode, and that's why I wanted it to work. And the draft, it just didn't work great for me. But I did like the option to choose your own GM, whoever you want to be for that. You get to go and pick the people, draft them to the show, and then, you know what? They're on the roster on that show, and that's really, really cool. The new promos and the Money in the Bank cash-in are all great additions to Universe Mode, and I do think that the Watch Show mode is definitely the best part about Universe Mode. Just streamline your entire experience. If a match is going too long, hit that wrap-up button and continue on with Universe Mode on to the next match. I think that is really, really sweet, because you know what? You're trying to play the Universe Mode however you want it to be, and if it doesn't work out, wrap that match up and move on. I think that's really cool. So Universe Mode in WWE 2K26 has a lot of updates, and it feels a lot easier to manage. It gives you more control over your show, more rivalries. You can play out the season however you want. You can do the draft, all that stuff. But here's the thing. Universe Mode is only as good as the roster you build inside of it. And that's where the creation suite becomes just as important as the gameplay itself. Because if you want your universe to actually feel unique, you need different arenas, different championships, and different superstars. And everything runs through the creation suite. Let's start out with Create a Superstar, because that's where you're going to notice the changes. Obviously, first starting out, it's all the same. You pick your type of superstar that you want, and you build from that. Off of that, you can do different personas, and you can have a luchador or a guy that looks sort of like a heavyweight wrestler, or just all kinds of different stuff. And there is a randomize button as always, so you can just randomize your superstar until you decide, okay, this is where I want to start with my custom superstar. Obviously, if you're trying to build somebody that's already a wrestler in AEW or TNA or whatever, you could do that. But if you're going off scratch to make a random person, let's say you're trying to make a CAW for My Rise, right? That's where you would go in here, you do the randomized stuff, and you would get into the game. Obviously, the biggest things out of this is that body morphing is way more flexible. You're not locked into the preset body types anymore. You can make a slim superstar with massive arms if you want. You can make someone's belly huge and skinny legs. All of that stuff that you want to do, you can tailor it to what you want for this. And I thought it was very, very fun. You can go and actually mix and match the proportions and get creative and make somebody that looks pretty unique to what they usually let you do. It opens up a lot of possibilities, especially if you're trying to create real wrestlers, legends, or even if you want to make the most crazy, ridiculous person, you can do that by editing all of the morphing on that. And the morphing doesn't just stop with the body. There's also improved morphing for the face. So you can actually navigate it a lot more easier and morph the face exactly how you want it. This year, there's really small adjustments that you can make, and you can actually see what you're doing in real time. Tweak it for every fine little detail really did make creating this superstar just that much better than before. The layers are huge in this game too this year, because before you had 60 layers total for everything. Now the head and body are separate, so you get 60 layers for just the attire, 40 for the head, and 40 for the body. They are separate there, which makes things so much better because now you're not limited on that stuff. Sometimes you make it somebody, you go, okay, I just ran out of stuff. I can't do what I want to do. Why doesn't it work the way that I want it to work? But now they give you those options to do more. So you have more for the head, more for the body, a separate pool for both of those, which is really, really good. Speaking of going deeper into customization, there is over 40 body templates to start with. So there's all kinds of options that you can choose to have the great body that you want for your superstar. You want a big belly? You can do that. You want to have a six-pack ab? You can do that as well. All the options are there, and the templates just make it an easier starting point for the superstar that you're trying to create. Having over 40 of them is just something that is really good. There's a lot of really small details here that if you're just a fan looking on the surface, you probably won't even notice. But if you go deep into it like I did here, you'll notice all these little things, and they really do pile up and make the creation just even better. So when you go to community creations, you're going to see even more realistic people in the community creations, which will make your universe mode even better, which will make the create an arena. It just all ties in together. Just adding more slots makes it really, really good. The hair, the hair, the hair. That's right. One of my favorite additions this year is that two-toned hair color blending. Now you can pick two colors of hair and blend them together. What's also really, really cool is you can adjust where the blend starts and how sharp that blend will be. So if you want the hair to blend from, let's say, a red to a green, and you want it to be right down the middle, you want to have a line, half your hair looks like that, red, half of your hair looks like that, you could do that. Or if you want it to blend seamlessly into one style of hair, you can do that as well. And it will look different in different lighting, so you can play with that, decide how you want the hair to look, and you're just going to be able to make it exactly how you want to tailor it, because nobody's hair nowadays in wrestling and anything is one color. I mean, some people are, but if you want to make like the craziest rainbow hair, you can have that multicolored stuff with the two tones, blend them together, make it however you want. You can do that for facial hair as well. So if you want to do facial hair and have the two-tone facial hair, you can also change that and make it, you know, as sharp as you want or as little as you want, just kind of however you feel that it makes sense. Also, that hair dye tool that was there, that is still in the game, so you can add a little streak in your hair if you want to do that. Put that all together, you have a really crazy specific look that you can do. Basically, the Jeff Hardy hairstyles that he always had the crazy hair, you could probably create those way more accurate than you ever could before. And I also wanted to mention this about creation because I didn't get to play this on the Switch 2, but you can use the Joy-Cons for a mouse control when customizing and painting on the body, which will make it even more smooth when you're creating that. I think that will be really, really cool just to be able to go in like a mouse and actually paint on your superstar. If you're playing on a PlayStation or Xbox, you can't do that. There is no mouse support or anything like that, but the ability to do that is just really, really cool, because then you can get those fine details exactly correct how you want when you're playing on the Nintendo Switch. And once you're done creating your superstar, you can save it, and you have up to 200 slots now in the game to save your creations in here. So that's really good. Just having more is always a good thing. So up to 200, so you can play around, mess around, make some crazy people. You know, this might be the year that people just make like off the wall people. I know community creations, you could just download people that look realistic to real wrestling promotions, but I think this year might be fun. Just kind of morph people, make the crazy stuff, make these wild, wacky tag teams, make you do a created universe mode with all these wacky creations you could do a ton of body morphing, do some randomization, do some two-tone hair color stuff, and create some crazy people. I think that's going to be a lot of fun this year. Now let's move on to talk about Create a Championship, because that is back this year. This is another area that feels more polished. Just the overall feel of it just feels better. You've got better material options, more plate designs, strap colors, plates, all that. Overall, it's just more. They're trying to make it easier to make belts that actually look like they belong on television. So whether you're recreating classic titles or making your own original title for Universe mode or even GM mode, because now you can use these custom championships in Universe mode and you can use them in My GM. So if you want to put those belts in there and make this custom championship, that is an option. So that is really, really cool. Just a really great feature there. But I didn't notice too many new details on this. Of course, there's going to be more straps and just make it look even smoother and better, and just overall a better presentation for it. Create a Championship, just taking those steps steps forward to make a really good mode and just keep improving it every year. That's the goal for this. For Create an Arena, we have a lot of updates here. There's a bunch of cool things that you can do in Create an Arena, including LED barricades, which you can customize that however you want. First time we have the LED barricades in Create an Arena, and that is just a great addition to the game. Make it look good, make it however you want. LED barricades, always a great addition to this game. Plus, we have a lot more options, and I do know people are going to say, you said more options, but I did notice that this was taken out of the game, or this was out of the game, or that was out of the game. Yes, some of the arenas are out of the game, some of the parts are out of the game, and they have added new things to the game. I don't know specifics on what's out and what's in and what's new and what's old, but I do know that some things were removed and some things were added. One thing I really did like was the overhead entrance thing where it's all the lights and stuff. There's tons of different options for that. Lots of different things you can go in and customize the arena up there. Do whatever you want. Have a little globe from WrestleMania if you want. Have those light truss up there near the entrance if you want. All of that stuff is there, so you're able to customize the arena even further than you could before. They're just going to keep improving it. That's the biggest thing to take away from all of this creation suite. I know I talk about the arenas and the belts and the people, and it's just all the little details that they're doing to make this even better. So the creation suite in WWE 2K26 gives you more control, more flexibility, more to create the unique superstars that you want to use for Universe mode. But what's interesting this year is that Create a Superstar doesn't just exist in the menus, it actually matters in the island, because this year creation isn't just about building a wrestler for Universe mode. Like last year, you're building your character for something bigger, and that is the island. In the island, your custom superstar isn't just your template, they're your identity, they're your progression, it is your story with your custom superstar. And that's where WWE 2K26 tries something a little different this year with cutscenes and voiceovers inside the island. So we have 3 different factions to choose from: the Order of Anarchy, the Order of Shadows, and the Order of Tradition. I think for this first one, we're going to start out with the Order of Tradition just to get introduced to the island and to see what it kind of looks like. Creating our guy, we're not going to go too deep on the customization, but there are different fighting styles: Striker, Technician, Powerhouse, High Flyer, and Giant. I'll definitely stick with the Powerhouse, more like John Cena, and we're going to pick a Heavyweight as our weight class. Since I'm playing on a developer account, I'm going to actually have a lot of VC that I can spend here to level up my superstar. So we'll just go through and level up as much as we can here just to kind of make the most powerhouse person that I can. Reaching new overall levels will give you some badges. There's one here called Sting Like a Bee, which will let you finish a combo with a light attack to deal extra damage and stun. There's all kinds of different ones, so as you're leveling up, you get these badges that you can use in matches when you're playing this game. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not actually going to customize my superstar that much, but I did get a cosmetic part for pre-ordering the game and getting that Joe Hendry cosmetic, which will give me that Joe Hendry t-shirt that I'll just put on because that's kind of cool. After our superstar is set up, we're ready to go, and we need to go talk to Cody Rhodes. He's waiting for us inside the Order of Tradition. This chapter is called A Referee's Last Count. Let's see what that means.
I don't understand why everyone else has such a hard time keeping their eyes on the action in a match.
Well, sometimes.
It's a goddamn job!
Welcome to the Order of Tradition. If you're here, I suppose we have something in common. An insatiable obsession with this business. We've got members of all backgrounds and persuasions here. Can I ask, what led you to join? Same. It's hard to grow up in a wrestling family and not be enchanted with the names and stories of those who came before. I only hope to build a legacy that's worthy of following. You'll find as you settle in that there's something special about the Order of Tradition. Sure, we can be a little intense sometimes, but we'll all have to work together if we want to earn the advantages that this island has to offer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You just arrived. What do you say we welcome you the best way we know how? in the ring against some good competition. That's the spirit. My friend Odette handles a lot of the booking around here. She set up a match for you against El Grande Americano. You might want to stop by the locker room first if you need to change your gear. Best first impression, after all. We're all excited to have you. Good luck.
I do want to say it feels really nice to have voice acting inside of this, because before it kind of stunk just having text on the screen. Now it actually feels like an actual career mode that you're playing with this out-of-the-box story on the island. Our next optional goal is to talk to Chad Gable inside the locker room.
You're the new Order of Tradition recruit? Well, I guess it could be worse. Hey, hold on, buddy. We're on the same team. Just a little friendly ribbing. You've heard that you're facing El Grande Americano in your debut match? That's some stiff competition. Pretty good-looking fellow, too. You can tell, despite the mask. You're not going to the ring like that, are you? I'm speaking the truth. Saving you some embarrassment, hopefully. But you can change your look in the locker room anytime you'd like. You can also tune up any of the moves you might want to use in your matches, too. Not a bad idea when you're up against top talent. And no need to come all the way back here if you're out exploring the island. There are my booths scattered around the whole place that make it easy. Think of it like your locker room on the go, without someone else's smelly socks. I'd try it out if I were you. Not that it's going to make a difference with who you're facing. Good luck, though. Maybe you can at least lose to El Grande Americano with style and grace.
Now it's time to get our first match. We're going to go one-on-one with El Grande Americano.
I'm excited to see this newcomer to the island in there against an opponent the caliber of El Grande Americano. Well, after this match, they moved over to the first fairy back. The legendary luchador El Grande Americano is looking to make a statement tonight.
Well, that statement better be inside the rule book with senior Order of Tradition referee Marshall Thompson calling the match. Guys, the strictest official in the game.
Clothesline. El Grande catches it by surprise. Oh, what a chop! And now tying up the leg.
Straight to the knee. The legs are a base that you do not want to lose.
Chopping down the tree at the base here. Turns that back on El Grande. From the top. Oh! Gets the reversal. What a counter. Clothesline. Good Lord. So effective. Punch connects.
All the way up for a suplex. No. Wiggles free. From behind. Chop block.
Oh, from behind.
Uh-oh.
Wow, overriding that with a powerbomb. He's got him here. He's got him up. And
A sidewalk slam.
Americano getting rocked with that bit of offense.
No need to raise alarm, though. He's got plenty left.
He's able to reverse it. Place it up high here. He's able to kick out before two.
Getting that shoulder up seemed to be pretty easy.
Boom impact.
Grabbing hold of Americano.
Tall. She can airline miles for that.
I do not see this match going on much longer. There's too many more moves like that from them.
You have got to be in elite physical condition to pull off something like that. And that looked like a rag doll being thrown around. Not the prettiest thing you'll ever see, but it sure looks effective from here. El Grande catches him by surprise.
Oh, they tied the offense there. Forearm club.
That puts an end to that, thank goodness. And they were just sent flying on that one.
There's a lot of hard ways to land, but that might be the hardest.
Oh, driving the elbow. What a punch! What's he putting together?
Just launched. That move had the amount of force akin to a natural disaster.
All right, he's got to refocus on now.
El Grande Americano just got the taste knocked out of his mask.
And right on cue, here comes Grande's flunkies.
What's he slipping into his mask? Turn around, ref. That's not legal.
I don't think he cares, Saxton.
Oh, no, with the loaded mask.
And an accidental 2-for-1 as they go right into the referee.
El Grande's taking full advantage up on the top rope.
Oh, the referee is down.
Not what El Grande was looking for. But here come the hyenas to pick the bones.
With El Grande Americano directing traffic, making a statement to this newcomer.
Wait a second. The ref's getting up.
What?
And he does not look happy.
The ref takes El Grande Americano to Suplex Island.
The Creeds and Ivy getting the heck out of there. They can't believe what they just saw.
Neither can I, and neither can referee Marshall Thompson. He almost looks angrier with himself than he was with El Grande Americano.
I think we're going to have to call this one a no contest, guys.
Okay, I didn't really expect a cutscene like that where the ref goes crazy throwing one of the best spine busters I've ever seen. That was awesome.
No. What have I done? I hope Odette wasn't watching. Did you see that? No, it wasn't. It was a gross violation of my duties as a referee of this sport.
Marshall Thompson! What in the goddamn blazes was that?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Dad, I can explain.
Explain how our recruits match ended in a no contest with no referee, El Grande knocked out, and worst of all, you whimpering like a sad sack of lima beans in the locker room?
Now, just 1 second. These beans may be sad, but at least they're just. He cheated, Odette. It wasn't right. You know the rules. We all know the rules. I'm just upset that I let myself betray everything I stand for. The oath!
I told you before, Marshall, there's no stupid oath.
Are you calling the sacred referee oath I swore to protect the business I love more than anything in this whole wide world stupid, Odette?
I came in here to read you the right act, and now you're being so ridiculous that I've lost my gumption. You had some chops out there. Would have liked to see a finish, but it left the audience wanting more. Odette Beaumont, at your service. And the sad lima beans go by the name of Marshall. Oh, I'm sure he did. The Beaumonts and the Rhodes go way back. Mom and Pop worked with Cody's dad. Taught me to be just as comfortable putting other people in the ring as stepping inside it myself. Wrestling's in my blood. That's why I believe in what the Order of Tradition's doing. Whatever's here to find on this island should belong to those who don't want to change what wrestling's really about. The artistry, the dedication, the craft.
Are you about off your soapbox?
Oh, you want to talk about what you did again?
Never mind.
No, I got two problems because of you. One, I got a new recruit who didn't get a proper introduction to the Order of Tradition. And two, I apparently got a referee who's got an itch to be an active competitor.
Odette, no!
Marshall Thompson, you showed too much fire and intensity for you to be counting to 3. So you are gonna step into training yourself, Marshall, as you get this new recruit up to speed in the Tower of Tradition. Check out the Scrapyard, too, while you're at it.
Why do you want them to bother with that place? You know the rumors about the Scrapyard are nonsense.
Are they, Marshall? With everything else I've seen happen on this island, I'm not so sure. And I'm not willing to take that risk. Marshall, you're coming with me. We gotta get you some proper gear before you kick off your ring rust. Let's talk when you've tried your hand in our tower and the scrapyard, and we'll see if we can get you a match with a proper finish next time.
So that wraps up everything about WWE 2K26. My complete early breakdown after spending real time with it. Core gameplay, the new match types, universe mode, creation suite, and the island. Those are the areas that I was really able to dig into and take a look at. I didn't get to spend proper time in my GM, my Rise, or my faction, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have opinions on those modes, but based on everything I did play, here's where WWE 2K26 stands. WWE 2K26 doesn't reinvent the wheel here. If you load up the game for the first time, it's going to look very familiar, and until you start digging deep into it and start playing it, then you will notice the match types, the pacing, the animations, the presentation upgrades, the small quality of life updates that I've been talking about. And you'll realize that this is actually a step forward. It's not a flashy overhaul or refinement. And honestly, that's what this series needs. They improved the core gameplay to make the match types better. The new match types make universe mode more interesting. Creation gives you more freedom to create superstars more true to life and gives you more options there. And the island gives your custom superstars somewhere else to exist outside of My Rise, and it feels like another story mode. And for me, this is the most promising WWE 2K game in a long time. I'll have a full review once the game is actually out and I spend time with stuff like My Rise and My Faction and My GM. But 1 week out, this is shaping up to be a real step forward in the WWE Games franchise. If you made it this far, let me know what you think so far of WWE 2K26, what you're most excited for. And as always, I'm TonyPizzaGuy. We'll see you in another video.